This celebration, this year's Met Gala's theme unlocks the reality for me that Black folks have been sold an idea that we must perform worthiness, that we have to put on an outward expression of legitimacy first in order to be seen as deserving of any sort of respect, dignity, at this juncture, civil rights. And I want to remind us that it's not on us, it's in us. Oh, Maggie Distiao. So a lot of people were saying that she was giving prom, she was giving quinceañera.
She said that she was inspired by like Harlem pastors.
Girl, with all them titties, what church she going to? Nicki Minaj, Nicki Lewinsky, Nicki the Ninja, Nicki the Boss, Nicki the Harajuku. I'll be like, I don't even know why those girls bothered at this point. Let's talk about Doechii. I enjoyed this look. What's that? Well, oh, don't make that face. This was exceptionally done. 10, 10, 10. This is horrid. I mean, bitch, god awful. From the makeup to the shaggy hair. What is that on her head? Is it alive? The tuxedo is horrid. The makeup is a choice. Maybe she thought the theme was camp. I'm not certain what's happening. The structure of the suit is wrong. There's nothing right about this.
I love the designer behind it, Paul Tazwell.
The black man?
Yeah.
Oh, well, hold on. Well, let me look at the look again. Hold on.
Hello? Hey, girl. Girl, you really just set up your voicemail. Call me back when you get this message, okay? I got the tea and it's piping. But until you call me back, I will be calling my other homegirls. Hey, girl. Let's get into the tea.
Hey, homegirl, homeboy, and homies, welcome back to my other corner of the internet. Homegirl hangout with me, your host and homie, the big one, not the little homie, Herbie Revales. Okay, so we are on the other side of Homegirl Hangout, Homegirl Chat. And as you can see, we have a guest in the building. So essentially, before I do the proper introduction of my sister, I want to give you guys a brief introduction as to what Homegirl Chat actually is. It is kind of like the B-side to Homegirl Hangout with Herbie, where I bring on my real life homegirl, homeboys, and homies, where I would say the biggest difference in conversation is, well, that there's a guest, and also because Homegirl Hangout is about covering a breadth of topics, right? Multiple different subject matter. Homegirl Chat is dedicated to discussing a singular topic. So maybe we sacrifice breadth for depth, honey. It's dedicated to depth. So tonight we're focusing on fashion's biggest night, the Met Gala, darling. Superfine, tailoring Black style. This is history. This is culture. This is beauty. This is blackness, honey. Blackness! All of which we will be discussing. So I decided to bring on my longtime friend, fashion writer and style expert, Pata Ito. Clap it up for Pata Ito. You better be clapping. We see you in the comment section, okay? So you've style assisted on commercial, editorial, and VIP projects for titles such as Essence Mag, Time 100, Perfect, Awake New York, and more, honey. The resume keeps resumeing. Anything you want to say, contribute?
For one, you ate that intro up. Thank you so much. But yes, I am, as Herbie said, a style expert and fashion writer. I also write a newsletter on Substack about fashion and style through the lens of shopping. But yeah, I'm super excited to get into the things. The Met Gala is very much like the Super Bowl of fashion, so I'm super excited to get into the things today, especially with this year's theme and the exhibition. I think that, I'm just really excited to talk.
Yeah, I love to talk as well. Now, the Super Bowl of fashion, Super Bowl, that's baseball, right?
Basketball, girl, I don't know.
Right, let's move on, girl. We're just girls. Okay, so you know what? I'm really excited that we're actually going to talk about this, because to me, even more important than your, credentials and your credentialing in the resume that will continue to resume. I mean, you are just a young woman. It's your keen eye for fashion, right? Style, silhouette, composition. I'm just super excited because I feel like you've always had an eye since we met each other in college. Now, here's where we have to begin the kiki. Before we get into the looks, because we will be doing a clock it or block it, I want us to better understand the theme and have a real conversation about it, because it is the first time that the Met Gala is creating space, holding space for, Black culture, right? In such a specific and intentional way. So this year's theme was Superfine, tailoring Black style. And as I kind of alluded to, and as we were told by the Met Gala and the fashion people that be, fashion powers that be,
The
you
powers that
know,
be.
the powers that be, honey, we were told that that has something to do with, it has some Black cultural meaning, that it, and it goes back to Black dandyism. And I'm wondering if you could expound a little bit on that for us.
Yeah, just to start, if you see me looking down at my phone, that's because I have some notes. This is all really important stuff, so I want to just make sure I hit on everything. Just so to start, a dandy has been defined as someone who studies above all else to dress elegantly and fashionably. And so dandyism refers to like the style and the conduct of life of that person. Dandyism was and is really about like social mobility and like moving through the world and establishing oneself and using clothing and self-expression as a means of doing that, typically done in a very flamboyant and ostentatious way. Now, when you racialize that, and you insert Black dandyism into the conversation, this is something that came about during the Atlantic slave trade and really started to proliferate during the post-emancipation era, where you find like Black men and women who were using clothing to kind of reclaim agency that was taken from them through the things that they wore. And it was just like this marriage of like African traditions that have been passed down through the slave trade, and then marrying that with like European dress codes. And of course, with all Black things, the interpretations were very beautiful and they were ostentatious. There were uses of prints and feathers and embellishments and things like that to like twist and subvert traditional articles of clothing, most namely the suit and tailoring as a whole. And so Monica Miller, who is the author of the book Slaves to Fashion, let me make sure I get the subtitle right. Yes, Slaves to Fashion, Black
Yes.
Dandyism.
I'm half listening, girl. I should have been like, yes, that's absolutely the name, because I looked that up. Yeah, Slaves of Fashion.
Slaves to Fashion, yes. Slaves to Fashion, Black Dandyism, and the Styling of Black Diasporic Identity. She defines and explores Black dandyism in a more granular way, and that is what this year's exhibition is about. She co-curated it with Andrew Bolton, who is the head curator of the Costume Institute of...
Like, her work is the foundation of this whole show and the exhibit, which is separate from what we see with the star-studded runway and red carpet.
Yes. So that's important to know. The catalyst, though, of this exhibition was the passing of Andre Leon Talley, who
really?
When
did Andre pass away?
He passed away in January,
a couple years back, right?
If I'm not mistaken. Yes.
So this is something they've been working on since in 2022?
Yeah, because they work on these themes, the Costume Institute works on these exhibitions for years in advance, and then Vogue also then comes in, and then
Anna Wintour with the Bob comes through and say, girl,
Bob comes in and she does all her things.
She does her B.O.B. things. Okay, I'm going to say something. I have really complex feelings about Black dandyism, right? As I do with many things with respect to, particularly things that live at the intersection of the arts, which are supposed to be fun, right? And socioculture, which is political in nature. Like, not that everything has to be politicized, but this right here. When you take European aesthetics and put them on Black bodies, there is going to be a political conversation about that juxtaposition. We just must have it, right? Before we say, bitch, she ate the house down, we must acknowledge that thing. Is there something you wanted to say about that?
Yes, and I just wanted to say that it is definitely jointed, the two. So it's an aesthetic, but it's also an act of resistance. That's something that I really wanted to say, and I wanted to make sure that I said. And the point of Black dandyism is to subvert the boundaries and the lines or confines or whatever words you want to use of race, class, and gender. So,
and see, this is where I think it becomes tricky. Right. And it's just, it's just the key. So we didn't create the theme. We're just speaking to it. Right. I want to do this way. First, shout out to Monica Miller. Right. She is the African-American Studies professor at Barnard College. And her work, as we said, is the foundation of this year's theme. Incredible work. Y'all should pick up Slaves to Fashion. It is already in my cart. It's just, it ain't Friday yet. So, girl, I see you on Friday, girl. No shade.
I'm about to say, and of the girls who bought it, most of the girls did not read it. I can admit that I have not finished it yet. I have started.
Oh, you purchased it?
Purchased it, started reading it. I
Support
didn't
Black
want to rush.
authors, bitch, because that book might be. It's no shade. I'm not sure if it already is on the book ban list, but certainly with all the attention that the Met Gala garners, it'll definitely find its way on the ban list. Let me say this too. One, shout out to the girls who get a degree in humanities. That would be us, because the girls say, "What can you do with a degree in humanities, honey? Honey, you can help to produce the most lucrative Met Gala in history."
Hello.
Yep.
$31 million.
Come on, 30 what BL. But I also and I love that, right? I also loved, and I'm doing the sandwich method. If you guys have been here for a while, I'm trying to work on giving the girls, positivity, the meat of what I have to say, which can be a little bit difficult to chew on and swallow.
Critique.
And then critique. That's the meat.
Yeah.
And then, ending it off with something nice. So I also will say that I love that this was the first time that that suiting wowed me. I don't know if you could say the same thing, like that it being centered on menswear, and for me to be like, oh, now that's how you clear, bitch, to the androgynous approaches, or even just the approaches that are not necessarily androgynous. It's like, so this whole time y'all been able to do a lot more than a black bow tie and a black blazer.
That's because of the flamboyance, but that's no shade.
That's the well, correct. That's the introduction of it's a deconstruction of gender expectation. So in that, I'll say I love that about the Met Gala. We love gender subversive stuff. We do. We do. But let me tell you, then this is just cultural critic Herb, right? I can be a fan of the arts Herb, and then I can be cultural critic Herb. And the cultural critic in me is saying, when I think about Black dandyism, I think about fashion as a method of survival, and as you said, as a method of resistance, right? This wardrobe is armor, right? And of course, we think about the contemporary examples like Andre Leon Talley, the late great Andre Leon Talley. We think about Dapper Dan, Pharrell, even RuPaul out of drag. Daddy.
Yeah.
But I also think about some of the oldest examples of Black dandies, and that would be like Frederick Douglass. And of course, I don't think he explicitly identified as a Black dandy, but
most don't identify themselves as dandies, because the whole point is that they're just walking the walk. Ike Ude, who was he was like a key player in like the creation of this exhibition, or just like the rolling out of the theme of this year's Met Gala. He has said that, like, because he's talked about as a dandy, he said that a dandy doesn't proclaim themselves as one. It's just, or as Pharrell has said, it's about walking the walk.
I see a connection between this, understood dandy without having to say a thing, and quiet luxury. I see a connection between those two worlds. Certainly. Which, has its place. I think so. Back to my idea of fashion as a form of political expression. Of course, dandyism, as I understand it, is the apex of respectability politics, which is largely critiqued now for reasons that I feel, many reasons I think are legitimate to critique respectability politics, 100%. Right? But this is also, this celebration, this year's Met Gala's theme unlocks the reality for me that Black folks have been sold an idea that we must perform worthiness, that we have to put on an outward expression of legitimacy first in order to be seen as deserving of any sort of respect, dignity, or at this juncture, civil rights. And in any context in which white racist people are in positions of power, and racism is not always overt or conscious, right? Anytime there is a dominant group in positions of power, and that dominant group has consistently been white people, this feels like an homage or a reference to that necessity to put on acceptable and respectable ideals, articles of clothing, to be seen, to be legible, right? And I want to remind us that it's not on us, it's in us.
Snaps.
Girl, that's where I want to start. Yeah. And
there
also
is a category because the Superfine is organized into 12 different sections, as are like all of the exhibitions. They're kind of categorized based on like thematic elements of the clothing or the accessories or whatever have you. And respectability is actually one of the categories. So I'm very interested to see everyone. It's gotten like rave reviews, this exhibition. Everyone says it's so moving. Everyone's crying, girl, even the white people. But like, I'm very interested to see that one in particular for all of them.
And it'll be up for a while. So we can definitely, we should go together.
Oh no, yeah, we're going. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, no, 100%. Okay, so it's a date. So, and the reason why I wanted to stay this, and I had to do the cultural critic piece, because that's not usually what I want the emotional experience and the vibe of this show to be. But we are living in politically unprecedented times, so we're about to get into the key piece. But
Yeah.
it's just not a Herbie space if we don't do that dichotomous dance, right?
100%.
And so I feel like if we're looking at Frederick Douglass as one of the original dandies, right? And there, I want to remind us also that Abraham Lincoln doesn't free the enslaved without the pressure, the activism, and the presence of Abraham Lincoln, of Frederick Douglass, right? And a part of that, and the reason why I use the word presence very specifically, a part of that is being seen, is being legible, which for Black folk at the time and seemingly to this day means some engagement with a performance of respectability. Not always, but I have to draw a parallel to the racist white man who is in power in that White House, who is literally erasing our history, who is gutting the African American Museum as we speak, who is signing racist laws like the removal of school desegregation, or a school desegregation order in Louisiana just this week, right? And so as I'm reminding us of that, I want to remind us that in the same breath, Blackness is as profitable as it's ever been. As you already said, $31 million, the most lucrative and financially successful Met Gala in history. But not just in terms of that, but in terms of the social currency, right? Blackness is a well that never runs dry. And right now, I believe that it's going to take all of us and us brainstorming all the different approaches, whether it's a respectability approach, even though we've seen it and it's worked in some spaces and it hasn't in others. The disruptive, we're going to need that. It's worked in some spaces and it hasn't in others. To create a new, are you looking for a new America?
Okay.
Girl?
Okay.
In order for us to in order for us to live in an America in which we no longer have to perform nobility to be seen as human. Now, that's what I'll say there.
That's that on that.
That's that on that.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to go ahead. That it had to be said. And we're going to move on to the actual looks. Almost 30 minutes into the show. I said that I wanted this to be an hour. If it extends that, y'all know where the hour will go. Over on Patreon. And then I'll probably chop pieces of this up on the YouTube page. So some of these chops, because the way we're going to do this is a 10 or a chop. It's very ballroom here. You're either a 10 or you're a chop. We are one of the other, boo. We're Black queers. And so this is us paying homage to our culture, honey. You can call it shade or you can call it an homage to ballroom culture. Either way, that's the way that we're doing it. We're operating in a binary just for this example. And it's really, a part of it is subjective, our opinion, whether or not we like it, right? But it's also, we're going to be, I'm sure, rating it on objectivity. Does it align with the theme?
I do just want to say that our opinions are our opinions, even though we're backing them up. They're our opinions. And also, like, this is in no way a slight to any of the countless hours of work and energy and money that goes into creating these moments and these looks that we're critiquing, that we love or hate, or somewhere in between. I've never participated in the Met Gala in that way, but I have done a lot of grueling work that then, lends to these type of moments that permeate culture. And we definitely want to respect all of the work that goes into that. So I just wanted to say that.
And in the words of, and I want to echo your sentiment, in the words of James Baldwin, I love America more than any country in the world. It is, and as such, it's my right to critique her perpetually. I think you are a lover of fashion in such a way that your critiques come from a space of a genuine love and respect for the craft. So I think everybody is going to interpret your criticisms or your critiques from a space of genuine appreciation for both the work that goes into it and the final product. You can respect the work and also acknowledge that something just didn't lend itself to your eye. So it's giving the dress code, and this was from the Met's website. The dress code is tailored for you, a nod to the exhibition's focus on suiting and menswear.
Yes.
A nod to the focus, to the exhibition with a focus on suiting and menswear. So
Yeah.
It just being tailored to your body is not specifically the objective way to view that. So we're going to start with the queen of the Met, as we must. I think we are contractually obligated to begin here. Rihanna obviously is the queen of the Met. I really appreciated not only this look, but her whole Met rollout, the whole day, right? Her doing everything feels intentional. That announcement of her pregnancy while walking through the rain, in that little, I don't know what she was wearing, but I know it was all Miu Miu.
Fresh off the runway. Fabulous.
Fresh off the runway. So what I loved most about that is that the photos were taken by Miles Diggs, and it seems like correct me if I'm wrong, every pregnancy announcement that she's had has been with the photographer Miles Diggs.
I'm actually not sure, but I do know that, I mean, obviously this was like a street style kind of image. I mean, Rihanna,
but still like paying homage to dandyism in a way as well.
No, 100%. Yeah. And I just thought like I thought that look was so fab. That blue was just like so excellent. And then girls Miu Miu, like fresh off the runway. Hello.
Hello. Okay, so this is custom Marc Jacobs. She's taking it from me. Jalil Weaver just knows exactly what to do. That's her stylist and creative director of Fenty. Again, I love that she kept it in the house, and she did work with Miles Diggs for every pregnancy announcement. So in a similar fashion, I love that she's working with somebody in-house with Jalil for this look. I love it. The tailoring, the hat, girl, the belly. Everything is doing it for me. What are your thoughts?
So you give it a 10.
Oh, it's getting a 10 for me. It's a 10 for me.
Okay. I also would say this is a 10. I loved it. When I first saw it, it brought me back to Rei Kawakubo's Lumps and Bumps collection, which is an extremely radical collection that hit the runways for the spring 1997 season and has such a wide-spanning influence. If you want to learn more about fashion, definitely look into Rei Kawakubo. She is the person that's behind Comme des Garçons, and she has influenced like generations, plural, of designers, including some of our faves, my faves, and Marc Jacobs. He pulls from her repertoire very frequently, especially lately. And so this reminded me of that. And that I'm referring to like the bustle, like that in the back, which is kind of like a blazer that's wrapped around like the lower half of her body. I also saw
that was cunt from the back where it looks like there is actually the top part of a blazer with the arms folded behind her
on the back. That was fucking fabulous. And
yes.
It delved into avant-garde. Yeah, which I love.
100% avant-garde, darling. Take a shot every time we say avant-garde. Yeah, I live.
By the end. But yeah, the hat gave Sunday's best. Subtle details. I love like the embellishments on the collar. Like if you get really close, you can see like on the white collar, there are embellishments. And the Amina Muaddi heels were sickening. I love those. I hope she bought them. I hope she wears them.
Shout out to Amina, whoever she may be. I will say it was giving lumps and baby bumps. Definitely, I enjoyed it. The house. We're going to move on to the co-chairs because I'm going to let you know right up front. I was overworked and underwhelmed. Clearly, they were overworked and underwhelmed because what the fuck is this? So Coleman Domingo wearing, custom Valentino. Sister, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
He gave us a lot. So he gave us 2 looks. These are both of Coleman Domingo's looks. He comes out in this initially.
The cape was covering the suit that was underneath. Yeah.
Correct. So he peels on out of this church robe and then comes right into this, LGBTQIA choir director number. And let me tell you something. Coleman Domingo is fine as fuck. I live for him. He's handsome. He is on my I would hit list. And if I ever had a husband, depending on when that comes to fruition, he would be one of my hall passes. I just think that he is gorgeous. Now, would I be one of his? I don't know. I know that he's currently with a white male. Who knows what he's done in the past, though?
He's Asian, the guy.
His boyfriend is Asian? Or his husband is Asian?
Yeah.
Really? He's not white?
He's Filipino, I believe, because I remember.
He's not a white girl?
What'd you say?
He's not a white girl?
No.
I thought he was a white girl. Well, okay.
I have to give him his things. Raul Domingo, you ate that one thing. I love that look.
Oh, his husband. I don't think his husband is in this list. Girl, this list is too long.
No, yeah, it's long. No, we won't include her, but look her up. She ate down.
She did say that this. Well, I want to. So I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best, videos of all time. He said that the blue reminded it was his mother's favorite color. That it was a nod to more. Well, first of all, let me play what he said about his look, just to add context for our homegirls, and then you'll give us your thoughts.
Drew inspiration from many things. From, I wanted to take this across the seas in many ways, and really got inspiration from sort of the Moors, like Othello the Moor, and people who, and kings, and things like that. And also the color blue was also a color that when we were doing our research with Monica, when she was telling me that a freed slave wanted to wear his finest blue superfine wool suit.
Wow.
And I thought the color blue is perfect for tonight. Yeah. And also I feel like it gives you choir, it gives you king, it gives you all those moments. And it's a little nod to Andre Leon Talley as well. There's a great photo of him actually at the Met Gala with the beautiful blue cape, as he would always do.
You always know what to do. And
all right. Girl, what are your thoughts on his deep meanings to this look?
So here's the thing. So what he's talking about, there's this famous image of Andre Leon Talley wearing this like gorgeous blue cape that he wore in 2011 to the Savage Beauty exhibition, which is a major turning point in the Met. It was a tribute to Alexander McQueen, who had just passed. And I just wish that it was a more. It's a chop for me.
It's a chop for me as well. I should have started. It's a chop for me.
Yeah, we have to remember to do that. Yeah, it's a chop for me because when I first saw the cape, I immediately thought of Liberace. I didn't think of like Andre first, and I was really hoping to see that. And then the suit under it, I thought it was T. But in comparison to things that he's just worn recently,
yes, that's the thing.
I mean, with Coleman, like the bar is set so high because like no one's dressing like him. And I do feel for him in that regard because it's like high expectation, delivery. It's so hard. But though, I honestly, out of the three things that he wore, or technically four, including his after party look, but of the three things he wore, the first outfit, which is this purple printed suit that he wore to the press conference for the Met Gala at the top of the day, was my favorite look. I loved it. This was a chop for me.
Yeah, it's a chop for me because it does follow the theme as well. I agree with you. It's just, I'm underwhelmed because he is one of the best dressed men on the planet. So, and that's inarguable. And so he has a standard to where I'm comparing him to his most recent look, right? Or to his oeuvre of looks. And this just falls flat on fashion's biggest night. I'll also say I did do some inextensive research as to blue being having some connection to slavery, and inextensive, right? So really short. I did see that blue or vibrant fabrics were something that, enslaved folks wanted to get their hands on and wear because it was a departure from the bleach fabrics associated with their enslavement, right? So there's a return to a kind of vibrancy and it symbolized freedom. That's great. We do love freedom, but sister, it's a chop for us. I'm also going to go ahead and chop Pharrell. I'm gonna chop him. This is a beautiful blazer. It looks like it's pearled or beaded in some way.
All pearls.
Yes, that's insane to me. It's gorgeous. It just falls flat for you to be a co-chair of the Met Gala, again, fashion's biggest night. It's just a little underwhelming. And then outside of this one piece, which sometimes we have this conversation, you don't want to have competing pieces in certain spaces, but the Met Gala is the place to give me more.
Unless it's so excellent, and there is a guest that I feel like embodies this. It's so excellent to where like you don't need like you just need what you're wearing. Like, you know what I mean? Like simplicity takes the center stage. This was not that. A chop for me as well. I will say, and this is where the subjectiveness that we were talking about earlier comes in. I am a proud stan of Pharrell's Chanel era. He had some involvement with Chanel, the House of Chanel, when Karl Lagerfeld was still alive. back in the mid to late 2010s, and I ate every single
decade
look
ago.
up. So fucking good. I wanted to get some of that. I knew I wasn't going to because he's at Louis now, but like I was just underwhelmed more than anything.
Yeah. Down. We're gonna speed through the rest of these men's. Let's go make these plates with these
Next.
tins and chops for these men so that we can get to the pop girls. I'm gonna go ahead and immediately give my husband a 10. Okay, let me tell you something. This is tailored to perfection. It's something about that brown skin or that pearlescent suit, honey. And especially as a short homie myself, I am, and we've had this discussion for years. I'm a sucker for tailoring, as you know. I am in terms of in construction. And suits are scary for the short kings. Short kings, it's a scary situation because the blazer will swallow up your length. And when the blazer falls so close to the mid thigh, now you look very boxy. You're giving very mini fridge. And that's not what we're going for, right? We're going for elongated goddess. And I was getting so much leg from this 5'9" king, 100% a 10. A 10.
10. This is what I was talking about. Understated elegance, designed by Grace Wells Bonner of Wells Bonner. Excellent brand. Black woman, love her down.
Oh, come on, black designer.
Yeah. Oh, and also special shout out to Lewis Hamilton because he brought a table of his own. Typically that does not happen. Brands or like the powers that be buy the tables and then invite the celebrities that they want. They just have to get clearance through Anna. These tickets are $50,000 or more.
I thought they were $75,000.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they were $50,000 like years ago, but he has brought his own table not just once but twice now. And this time though, first time he brought black designers. This time he brought all black women, like artists that he really believes in as a tribute to the black female dandy, even though this is a conversation of black dandyism as a whole and this theme around that centers black men. Black women were dandies. And you know, they definitely should not be left out of the conversation. So 10s for him. He looked great. And like that tailoring, that short blazer and those long pants, just excellent. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, that's a black king right there. Yeah. And speaking of black kings, it's a chop for me. I'm gonna go ahead and chop ASAP Rocky. As a Harlem native, this is disappointing. This is disrespectful almost. I would have loved a zoot suit, or something zoot suit-esque. Like the Harlem Renaissance is literally the birthplace of the zoot suits, which is inextricably tied to dandyism. So I would have loved something with more of a color story. I'm just again, Rocky is in a similar position as Coleman, not the same. I think Coleman has got him beat me personally in terms of the fashion department, but he is an exceptionally stylish man, who's definitely in a conversation of one of the most stylish men on the planet. And so this is underwhelming. For anybody else, maybe this would have been a 10, but I'm going to have to go ahead and chop him.
I too am gonna have to chop him as well. This is his own brand. It was designed by himself. His brand is AWGE. I'm not sure what that stands for. But that's his own brand. It was chic, but like in context of the theme and all of the things that we're talking about, it just kind of fell flat for me. Like I personally would have loved to see like what he wore on the cover of the Met issue, because all of the co-chairs, or the four, Coleman, Lewis, him, and Pharrell, they all got covers. Lewis had the best one, no shade. But I think that his suit on that cover would have been so excellent here. So yeah, I'm disappointed by this.
Choppiana, let's move on to the ladies of the night. The ladies. Yes, so we're gonna start. I tried to do this where we would do the pop and the pop girls, then the fashion girls. But honestly, there were so many people that at some point I was just like, girl, they're getting thrown in as they get thrown in. So we're just gonna roll with the punches. First up, we do have Lizzo. When I say exceptional, when I say I want to see a waist pulled together. Now, I'm going to say something. I'm not the hugest fan of this paneling happening at the bottom. I'm not sure if that's the correct terminology for the little the mermaid situation at the bottom. But I love the shape here. And I'm going to tell you something about a 613 wig. Okay, a 613 wig on a black woman. Normally, I need a deeper root to give me the full fantasy, but there's something that feels of a certain time here that feels very vintage, that feels Marilyn Monroe-esque here. I'm giving this a 10.
Interesting. So
Love that for
I like
you.
I initially gave this a chop for me. I think this is kind of the thing of like expectation and delivery coming to fruition. I would have loved to see her in like a traditional suit. I feel like that would be so major. I think especially as her being a plus size woman, I feel like her coming in like a perfectly tailored suit and then like really embodying like Black female dandyism, because I just think that it just would have landed a lot better for me. So I gave it a chop for that reason. She does look great.
Okay.
And I mean, that 613 is on. That's my blonde
Bitch,
sister.
that 613 is on,
It's
honey.
on, no shade. But and the lip. I really was into that lip. That dark lip.
Yeah, the makeup is great altogether. It's a simple face, bold lip, like bold hair. Let's move on.
Okay.
Oh, Maggie Thee Stallion. So a lot of people were saying that she was giving prom, she was giving quinceañera. The girls were saying, now she did say this was a reference to Eartha Kitt and Josephine Bakes. Love Josephine Baker. She's an icon and a legend.
Yeah.
But Josephine Baker notoriously wore a suit to challenge gender roles, and it was very dandy and to make a political statement. So this is a chop for me. This is a chop for me. I love Megan Down, but the shoe is wrong. The hair is interesting, but the outfit is. I'm sorry.
I said it tells a story. The hair.
Oh, right. What story is it telling?
Josephine Baker. It's actually referencing. It's a like very direct reference of this.
I've seen that. I've seen the reference.
She's like leaning back. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is that, but better. It's a chop for me. What is it for you?
Oh, it's also a chop for me. I want the best for Megan always. Love Megan Down boots, but like I just wanted a little bit more from Meg. I would have loved a modern day like or I guess a present interpretation of like the Tina Snow persona with like pimpish kind of like madam elements. I would have lived.
It was right there.
It was
her 613 wig was sitting with the story, telling the story, and the brand was right there.
Right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she is Tina Snow, the pimp, the baddest pimp you know.
No, 100%. Like she could have got icy with us. Like I just was disappointed. And then the crystal dress, it's like,
we've seen it before.
We've seen it before. Like you gotta really wow me, because there's so many crystal dresses that are on the carpets these days. So like, it's a chop for me.
It's a chop. Cardi B. Now, all I have for Cardi, and this is not, intended to be shade. All I have is I enjoy this. I enjoy the fabric. I enjoy the color against her skin. The makeup works. The hair is very specific. Yeah. Everything about it gives me very, I feel like I just took a trip to a Harlem themed party, but she's the richest bitch in the space.
That's what she was inspired by, she said, or at least the team was inspired by. Burberry did this. Shout out to Burberry. Had one of the best tables of the night, if not the. I think Tom Brown was the best, but loved it. I thought it was great. The hair, it gave me like Dominican blowout, like
yes, it did.
Yeah, so it was like a nod to her heritage. I thought the tailoring was great. The colors were great. It was like some reference to like Edwardian era fashion. I
see that too.
Yeah, so it's like she said that she was inspired by like Harlem pastors. Like back in the day. Yeah.
So with all them titties, what church she going to?
I mean, I guess like
bitch going.
Or no, let me correct myself. She said that like she was reminded of like custom made Harlem shops, and like in her mind, the only people that could afford
dressed like that was pastors. I saw that clip.
Yeah, you saw that.
People, because people, moving through the hood, particularly in urban hood, aren't dressed well like this, certainly, but aren't dressed, in any sort of dandyism attire. It's very atypical. Let's talk about Doechii. Now, let me say this: I enjoyed this look. I love Doechii. In my mind, Doechii. What's that? Well, don't make that face. Okay. Well, let me give my opinion. Let me give my opinion. I appreciated the boyish androgyny of this. The wig. I loved the wig. Oh, you hate the wig. Okay. The wig was great. Best Afro. Okay, good. So we align in this.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the way. I loved the story. It keeps in line with her student of hip hop branding for this era, right? Which I think is a really smart way to cement this era or the fashion aspect of this era in history, because she still here is serving student. Hated the shoes. And speaking of branding, I did want to circle back to that. I felt like there was a double entendre here happening with the LV brand, like the LV brand emblem on her face. One, she's representing that brand, and two, she's branded, which I think speaks to the fact that a lot of we know that dandyism came during the Reconstruction era, right? And so a lot of enslaved folks are just getting out of enslavement, which means a lot of them have the branding on their bodies because they were treated like cattle, and the whelps from the whips on their bodies. And so to try and add an aesthetic or a beauty component to even my scars are beautiful is great. It just would have landed more if it wasn't a Louis Vuitton branding. Because she is also, even though I enjoy this and hate the shoe, she is serving Louis Vuitton billboards. So I don't know whether to give her a 10 or a chop. What are you gonna give her?
I'm gonna give it a chop. I like Coleman. I think she was the woman because of her fashion run, like of just like the past couple months, like, and just generally speaking, her style is so stellar. And I think like she's doing so many exciting things in that department. And the Grammys is the best example of that, or one of the best, rather.
Yeah, so well.
I was just so excited to see what she would do. To me, the hair was absolutely perfect. So shout out to that team. The makeup was excellent. The glam, I loved it. It was so good. She looks gorgeous, hands down. But like, I don't really live for this look. Yeah, it's just as simple as that. I just don't live. I do. A lot of people had issues. A lot of people had issues with the branding and like what that represents. I just thought she looked so good. I wasn't even like consciously thinking of that. But I think, yeah, I just was not pleased with any of the Louis looks of tonight. This, I would say, is the best one. Oh. But still, I didn't like any of them. Sorry,
Louis. So that means we're on your ass, unfortunately. I did want to play this little clip that was circling around the internet when the paparazzi came in to try to get a sneak peek of her look. Oh no.
Oh my God, no.
And another one.
Alright, make a path, everyone! Clear a path! Move! Clear a path here!
Okay, let's so honestly, I'm gonna tell you something. I actually understood where she was coming from in the way of like that cart that was blocking her should have already been there. She wasn't the first person that used that little box to block what she was wearing. I saw other people using that or something similar to it to try and move out without the paparazzi seeing what they're wearing. Not because what she's wearing is, exceptional, but just because, you want to save it for the red carpet. Yeah. And so when people are like, how dare she speak to her team like that? She's full of herself. She's been famous for 2 minutes. I'm like, I think her aggravation was for the paparazzi's audacity to catch her in the moment, or maybe a division of her team that was supposed to have that cart. They are ready as soon as the elevator doors open, and the elevator doors open, and she's being captured prematurely. And so I could understand that frustration. And sometimes you don't have the brain. You're not in your right state of mind to think clearly. So you're just speaking like, bitch, give me that fucking umbrella. And you don't really mean to curse people out. You're just using that language because it's a heated moment. So I could really understand that situation, I think. I did want to. So Lauryn Hill, I'm going to go ahead and give Lauryn Hill a 10. To me, Lauryn Hill showed up on time, and that's all I have for you. So therefore, for the first time in American history, she will be getting a 10 for not holding up the Met Gala. And also, she just looks great here. She's a vision in yellow. I love it. Sublime.
Yeah, the yellow was perfect. The umbrella I loved. My only complaint, I'm not super huge, or no, I don't live for bags on the red carpet, or the blue carpet, excuse me, in this setting. But like, I just don't usually live for those, but that Kelly is so fab. to where it's like, okay, I can give her a pass on this one. No, I'm just kidding. No, but this looks great. I loved like the structure of this garment. It was designed by a Nigerian designer named Ugo Mosey. And I love it. The brand is called 1116. And yeah, she looks amazing. I love it. 10.
10s across the board, Miss Hill. All right, let's move on to the next lady of the hour. Let me tell you something. Nicki Minaj, Nicki Lewinsky, Nicki the Ninja, Nicki the Boss, Nicki the Harajuku. I mean, like, I don't even know why those girls bothered at this point. To me, she's certainly in the running to be one of the best dressed of the night. This is the best This is the best I've ever seen Nicki Minaj look at the Met Gala. And all the times I see it, this is one of her best fashion looks, I think,
period,
ever. Yes.
Period. Like
from the hair to and the bouffant, like from the asymmetrical situation happening up top, the exaggerate. You would think that someone with a Nicki Minaj shape wouldn't flatter an exaggerated hip moment built in to a tuxedo top, but she's serving it. Every piece of this is delicious. Gorgeous. I absolutely enjoy it. Yeah, it's a 10 on 10 on 10. Period.
10 on 10. She was one of my favorite women of the night. And like to really get into like the garment itself, it's like this cocoon asymmetrical jacket, and it's got this pinstripe embroidery. It's like a deconstructed dandy suit, and I will live for deconstruction in fashion. 10s for craftsmanship. It's like the suit looks like it's falling off of her shoulder as if it's like a woman that's wearing a men's suit, and it's too big, but like she's wearing it anyway because she's like pushing against.
She's just so small and so geeky.
She's so but like at the same time, it's like she's snatched together, and like her hips are being hugged by this tailoring. I loved it. The updo gave like church girl. Her
the updo gave regal. Fuck church. I mean, wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, hold on, girl. I'm still working on that one-way ticket up. So maybe not that. What I meant to say was, hold on. Reason being, in the sense that. No, I mean, this gave regality. That's a queen's coif. That's
mother, absolutely. It was so feminine, like her face, that beat, those nails.
That
like,
mug.
Yeah, her nails were like, she looked like her beat. It was villainous. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
She was a dream. Okay, she was dreamy. I mean, and the brilliance of this look could only be delivered to us by, the one, the only Luxury Law. You could tell that Law Roach had his hands all over this. When I saw that, I was like, Nicki Minaj. And then when the people said that she was styled by Law Roach a lot, I was like, well, of course.
Well, there you go.
Because this is brilliant. This is brilliant. Janelle Monáe, again, to me, one of the best looks. Now this is avant-garde.
This is a dandy.
This is a dandy.
This is a dandy in the truest form, yeah.
Everything about this is exceptionally, it's so well thought out. And the continuation, right? And also it's her story. It's her, on one end, it's her always being the woman in black and white, right? Because that was such a part of her brand for so many years, where all she wore was black and white. And then the pop of color she chooses is the most provocative, attention-grabbing color, right? We know that there's research that says when we see blood, it increases our like we get a rush of, what is it, dopamine, or there's something that like happens in our body. I want to know this specifically because that's why so many restaurants use red in their marketing, because it makes you hungry, because you get like this flush. You feel things when you see red. If I find it, I'll put it on the screen. If I don't, Google it, kids. This is brilliance. The monocle, everything. Great.
Yeah, it was 10. To me, there was camp in the best way. This sold it for me. I loved it. The tailoring on this was exceptional. I thought the monocle, like, it felt like her. It feels like something that we'd see from her. I love the hat. The hat was great. And like the play on color, like the way the colors just merged together. And I mean, it's Tom Brown. Like, here you go. Like, Like just so good. I loved it. I loved that, like, to me this was a reveal worth waiting for, because to me that show, like, it was definitely the structure of it was definitely like a head turner, but this though, like, this is a moment. And I mean, I knew she was gonna do this theme justice. Like, I just knew. This is who she is.
No, she's first of all, she's an exceptionally fashionable person.
Yes.
And the lesbians just do it better. They just know what to do. Lesbians just do everything better, in my humble opinion. They are the best representation of the LGBTQ community. Shout out to y'all. This was exceptionally done. 10, 10, 10. Mama, I'll give you this. I'm speechless. This is horrid. I mean, bitch, god awful. From the makeup to the shaggy hair. What is that on her head? Is it alive? I'm not certain what's happening. From the rooter to the tutor. The tuxedo is horrid. The makeup is a choice. I maybe she thought the theme was camp. I'm not certain what's happening. The structure of the suit is wrong. There's nothing right about this. This is one of the biggest chops of the night. And I'm gonna say this: I love the pink pony Chloe. I love the pink pony Chloe, but this is what you wear to the pink pony Chloe. You don't wear this on the Met Gala stage, honey. You leave this for before you get on stage at the pink pony Chloe. This is ridiculous.
It's a chop for me too. I love the designer behind it. He's Paul Tazwell. He's the man behind Wicked. He's the mind behind Wicked. So shout out to him. Yeah, I just think that, like,
he was a costume designer.
Yeah,
the black man.
Yeah.
Oh well, hold on. Well, let me look at the look again. Hold on, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
I could kind of see where she was going with this. The more I think about it through a different lens, through a different lens, I see where she was going. And so I'm neither going to chop it or give it a 10. I'm going to go ahead and support everybody involved.
Support by black.
By black. Thank you.
No, yeah, it gave me glam rock.
Glam?
The hair was very Stevie Nicks.
Wait, it gave you glam rock?
Glam. It gave me glam rock, and okay. I mean, I don't know. It just,
I could see the rock.
The chop.
More like brick a little bit.
Girl, it was a chop. I mean, I mean, this is a conversation about branding. Makeup, beauty is not my lane. I think it has contributes to this look, but like, I would love to see what she looks like with like a normal.
Well, she does do light beats. I think that's a part of, like, Chapel Roan is a drag queen. So her serving Chapel Roan, it's giving us drag makeup. But, drag is manifold. RuPaul comes out every single week in drag and looks like Tyra Banks in 98.
100%.
Okay. By the mug. Yeah, I would have loved to see a lot more glam in The Rock.
Yes.
And 100%. So we're going to move on. Support Black business by Black. Okay, well. Hey, homegirl. Sorry for the abrupt ending. There are still so many celebrities to get through. So if you want to see, the rest of our chops and tens, the full hour-and-a-half version of this video where we get just a little bit more spicy, a little bit more shady, everything is unedited, is available on the Patreon. We even play a little fun, shady game wherein, with a similar binary premise to Chop or 10, we're talking about really arbitrary topics, everything from Sex and the City's impact on fashion and the fashion industry to the future of AI and conspiracy theories, honey. It just gets a mess over there. So it's a good time. You know what to do. Click the link in the description box down below and I will see you there. And even if you can't make it, I love you still. Remember, I am in a constant state of practice, and so are you. You can never fail when you're in a constant state of practice. I love you. Bye, whole world.